Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We are looking at 38 degrees outside Fahrenheit. How about you guys? What's the temperature looking like? Let's get some lights on in here so you can see a little bit. It says they're on, but now they really are on. Hello, Moto. How are you? Oh, what would you like to watch? You'd like to watch Mommy? Oh, okay. She handed me the remote to the living room TV, and either wants to watch Do or Mommy. So let's make sure the chat is connected. See if the audio is functioning correctly. Let's see. Uh, yeah, okay, it is. It's on delay for me. I don't know why my machine always has trouble uh, with live streams from a PC. My Windows PC, my Windows laptop, my Mac laptop, they all do this. The phone nearly live. Oh, she brought an iPad. Maybe she wants that unlocked. You have your iPad? Let's see about this. Oh, it restarted. All right, let's lock it into kid mode. It needs a restart. Stand by. I'm not mommy. Yes, baby. Yes. One moment. Sorry about this. My headphones. I need those. That's not funny. Oh. All right, so yes, baby. First up, let's get the first story together. Yes, yes, it's turning on. Good moment. It's supposed to be turning on. Yeah, that's garbage. Yeah. All right. Mhm. While she does that, let's click on this first story. Get it up there. And I'm gonna throw in a one that I hadn't expected earlier this week, just because I don't even know where it's supposed to be in the show, but I want to talk about it now because it's about plugs. You guys know how I am about plugs. All right, so she's good to go there. Check her volume levels. All right, let's lock it in kid mode. All right, you're golden. Here you go, baby. You're welcome. I'm glad I turned it down. She's going right behind me. All right, so first up, let's make sure that we are ready to transition to presentation view. And we are. But that's not the story I wanted to start with. But why not? Let's start there because, like I said, it surprised me. All right, let's transition, and then we'll turn off studio view. Weird. I see it there, but I don't see it live. There should be a window right there. That's not good. Bueno. No, bueno. And we do have a chat. Who is our first chat from? Our first chat? It doesn't say on there, so I need to look here and look closely. It says, good evening. Who is chatting with us? Anders is chatting with us. Good evening, Anders. Good to see you. I know it's chilly over there. What is your guys' outside temperature today? And let me turn out of studio mode and then figure out what happened. Oh, there's our window. Interesting. I don't know why it waited so long to show up. Yes, baby. You okay? You sleepy? Here you go. Oh, what? Don't fall. Don't fall. It's the dad reflex of that one. She just rolled over as if the couch continued. All right. And now that we got our heart pumping. Yeah, baby. Oh, you did fall anyway? That one looks like you sat down. I didn't hear any thump. Yeah. You want to get on the camera? No, you don't. Okay. She doesn't want to get on the camera. She said no. So, the first one we're going to talk about today, even though it's not where it was on the schedule, was a surprise to me. Our friends over at Mazda, the ones that just canceled this EV in the picture there, the what did they call that thing? The CX-30? Yes, that's right. So I wrote plot twist. Oh, whoa, yeah, you have a smoothie, but you don't know how gravity works when you carry liquids. So I'm gonna hold on to this. You want to sip? Here, you can have a sip. Whoa. Okay, I got it. I'll hold it for you. You want some more? She just carry things however they are, so sometimes they'll end up a little sideways, and that's it's full. It's full. It's just not a good combo. It's not at all. It smells like bananas. Anders says it is 2 degrees C or 35.6 degrees Fred, as Mark would call it. All right, so that's chilly. We were where were we this morning? We were at 26 Fahrenheit this morning when this one decided she wasn't going to sleep at all. That was fun. Then at 9 o'clock, she leaves the room and goes right to sleep in the living room. You brushing your teeth now? That's great. Okay, you got it. I don't like it when we brush our teeth, but she'll do it on her own. Just not very well, babies. Yeah. Well, don't throw it away. Let me close that trash can. Do you want your iPad back? 'Cause I don't need it. No, don't push it with the toothbrush. Take it with your hands. There you go. Thank you. Okay, I'll take that. Yes. Slow start. So, as I was saying, plot twist in the EV game. Mazda joins the supercharger club. Future Mazda? Maybe. Zipping between the NACs and superchargers with ease. The future one, yes. No update on the MX-30 with its, but with its range, maybe it's happier zipping around town. Let's see what electrifying surprises Mazda has in store. Hashtag NACs. So that was a surprise to me because this MX-30 has a range of 100 miles. And with the supercharger stations being able to be as far as 150 miles apart from each other, I don't think that we will see an adapter messaging from Mazda. They didn't include any, but they did mention that their future cars would be NACS and have access to the supercharger network, which is good for some future Mazda that we don't know about because everything we were hearing was they were talking about either a range extender or a plug-in hybrid. They've got a plug-in hybrid version of the MX-30 elsewhere that's not the US, but I don't know where they're going with this. I'm excited eventually to see what goes on, but I'm not holding my breath. Similar, I don't know if I made a post about it or not. I don't know if I did, so I'm gonna talk about it now. Stellantis came out with the Ram ProMaster delivery van, and it uses CCS1. And there's no announcement about adapters and supercharger access, nothing about NACS next year. So they're still over there in Electrify America land. And for delivery van, it's not that critical because normally those things would go back to a depot and you could do something with it. But if you're looking at putting other, like a mixture of vehicles, every other vehicle you're thinking about putting in there has switched to NACS, except for possibly the heavier trucks. So Stellantis is still dropping the ball there, and I do hope to see them say something and join the rest of the country in using the J3400 or JNAX plug, because J3400 is a stupid name. Uh, with that, uh, uh, their future EVs don't stand much of a chance of success if they're the only manufacturer using a different plug and they're not also dominating the market like we saw with when it was the Tesla plug. I do wish them luck, and I do hope for the sake of their customers that they join up. Just saying. All right, so let's see what we've got next. What do you guys think about this? Is Mazda something that you're even considering? And I heard back from Google, so programming note. I heard back from Google on why they weren't letting me give away the uh, the memberships. Whenever there's 5 people in the room or more, I can give away 5 memberships twice a month, and it gets more complicated. So you guys have to have gifting enabled on your profile so that I can gift you a month subscription. So like Anders, you're already a member, but what they would do is uh, YouTube would pay your membership that month instead of you, and that's pretty cool. So what you want to do is on your YouTube profiles, turn on gifting. If somebody will tweet me after the show, post me an X, I'll find those instructions that YouTube gave me and I will share them uh, so that you guys, because who doesn't like free stuff, and so that you guys can partake. Whenever there's 5 people in the room, I can hit the button, boop boop, and then that's just a month of memberships. It's just handled. Anders says that it was negative 18C or negative 0.39 Fred yesterday morning. Woo! Wow. Yesterday, where did we go? We had to go somewhere. Oh, we had to get supplies for madebygig.com, my wife's crafting business. And I did remember to preheat the car, but it was cold enough that our tire pressures dropped from, we run them at 50 because that's what these cross climate 2s on the Model X can handle. We run them at 50 and they were down at 46 and 45 psi. So it was cold. Let's see. The next story we've got is, let's see what pops up. Ah, what pops up is I apparently closed the wrong tab. Let's open it back up. Ah, yes. Tesla crushes US EVs with 51.7%. Huge win, but let's make it a planetary win. Every auto giant join the electric party. Supercharged dreams, sustainable rides like the Ford's Olive Muscle, double-digit EV market share. Let's go. And with that, Teslarati said Tesla Model 3 and Model Y accounted for more than half of EV sales in the US last year, 51.7% to be exact. And remember, those two cars plus other models, according to Car Dealership Guy, equaled 4.2% of the entire U.S. market share last year. That's incredible. And again, we need everybody else to step up because if Tesla's only 4%, then they should be 51.7% of all cars because all cars should be electrify all the things, baby. All cars should be electric. Let's click in here and let's read their article. We can close that tweet. I know they're X's and posts and whatever, but until, like Elon said, it's a stupid nomenclature. So until he finds something that works, I'm going to use them interchangeably. The rest of the world does. All right. Let's see what those numbers look like. And then we got to find where the next article is. I've got a list, but the list was made 3 minutes before the show was ready. So I gotta put them in order. Uh, Model 3 and Model Y accounted for over 51% of the sales. And my mouse is all jello-y and jiggly and slow. I don't know what happened to it today. YouTube says that the bitrate is too low, but let's ask the streaming software. Okay, so it's not complaining. That's really all that matters here. All right, Model 3 and Model Y. I don't know that Teslarati was the first one I pulled for this stats. They don't have that nice clean chart like we see for the inside EVs. So next up, we have the Chevrolet Bolt EV and EUV. So they were similar, just declared as one because they're just Bolt, and that was 62,045 units to the 394,497 sales from 3Y. Uh, wow, that's trouncing. The Mustang Mach-E came in fourth, and they sold 40,771. Ah, here's our chart. Oh, okay, they did break them down. Okay, so Model Y at 394,000, Model 3 at 220,000, Bolts at 62,000, Mustang Mach-E at 40,771, so almost 41,000. And then the Volkswagen ID4 at 37,789. Mustang Mach, Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Rivian R1S. That's interesting. You would expect the Hyundai to do more numbers, considering where the Rivian R1S starts at. Then the Ford Lightning at 24,165, with all of their dealers giving them trouble. Well, not all of them, but with their dealership network giving them trouble, and with Ford uh, slowing down the production for the year. They've made several consecutive slowing announcements, and that's quite disappointing to see. The Tesla Model X, wow. So they did manage to just barely outsell the Tesla Model X, and also ran from Tesla at 23,015. And why I say it that way, because while the X is cool and awesome, and I drive one, etc., it's not a priority for Tesla. So for you to kind of barely edge out their afterthought is not good. And then the BMW almost caught up to it at the BMW i4 at 22,583. I suspect the reason we don't see Model S on this list is because the Model 3 qualified for the tax credits last year and the Model S did not. I'm curious how far down it is on the list. I imagine it's still fairly high, but it's not on there, and I don't feel like having to find out how it got broken down because all the official sources from Tesla are going to put the S and the X either together or in other models. All right, let's see what the comments look like. Without any negative connotation for Tesla, this is really the result of having no other domestic or semi-domestic European, like Stellantis, manufacturer making EVs to compete with mainstream ICE Vs. Plus the lag in imports of Kia and Hyundai, and the barriers to imports of BYD, NIO, and Xpeng. Basically, the U.S. Tesla has the BEV feel to itself. Mm. They're the only ones like trying, it seems. Since the likes of Rivian, Lucid, and Rivian and Lucid are just too expensive for 95% of the public. Yeah. Nice, but the real issue should be why are more EVs not selling and how to fix this. We must kill off the legacy ICE and hybrid ICE as fast as possible. And that means having Western license makers move to making EVs instead. Um, yes. All right, let's see what the next one is supposed to be and go there. No, I don't need to start Photoshop. Thank you. In fact, is Photoshop running? Is that why I am out of RAM? I don't see Photoshop running. Something is running though. Oh, Photoshop is running. Close with you. Quit. Quit. Don't save. All right. Oh, where are you? There you are. Oh, but now our browser window is gone. Let's bring it back. There it is. Okay. The next article is about GM throwing in the towel. No, that's not where it's supposed to go. That's not where it's supposed to go. GM throwing in the towel comes in where? Now we're actually going to talk about Baltimore City. Baltimore City. There we go. There we go. Let's copy the link. just in case it tries to open in the wrong window. I don't have to hunt the window down and bring it where it goes, but I can just do this. All right. Later this month, Baltimore City will unveil 25 electric buses that will transport 350 children every day to school. Like we keep saying, electrify all the things. That's a lot of kids. This one's coming from Joey at Tesserati. Where's their quote? January 30th, officials will gather for an inaugural ribbon cutting event to celebrate the new fleet of EV buses, which were supported by 9.425 million from the EPA's Clean School Bus Program, which is, I've got new glasses coming, which is aimed at bringing cleaner air and more equitable and reliable transportation to kids in the area who are disproportionately impacted by climate change. And these kids, yes, but think about it. All kids are negatively impacted by uh, pollution. Where does the where does the tailpipe sit on a school bus? Right at the kids' faces. So you've got as traffic is going on, they're waiting on the bus. As the bus is arriving and leaving, they've got big blasts of diesel soot, and then you've got the fact that inside the diesel and gasoline buses is also not a very clean air environment for the children. So it's good. Baltimore City is just one of 642 total districts to receive funding through the Clean School Bus Program. And so far, 5,103 buses are set to be replaced, with 439 awards having been given so far, totaling $1.8 billion. Nice. And Baltimore will electrify the city vehicle fleet by 2030. Nice. All right, so next we're going to talk about the state of Michigan. They also did the same thing. So let's see, Michigan. And paste that there. I say paste. Just open that. There we go. And we'll close this one. And that one. Oh, they use the same. They use the same thumbnail. I was like, did I close the wrong one? Oh, Michigan gets funding for electric school buses in 8 districts. Also part of the same program, I believe. Detroit, Lansing, and Pontiac school systems will receive over 5.9 million in federal funding to purchase 15 electric school buses each, according to press release from the Michigan Department of Environment. Great Lakes and that's an awkward sentence. Great Lakes and Energy shared earlier this month additional funding from third-party multi-state guarantees that First Student Inc. and Highland Highland CSB1 is helping the state buy electric buses for the additional public school districts listed below. All right, so theirs is a combination of government and private funds. 10 buses in Flint, 5 buses in Redford Union Number 1 near Detroit, 2 buses in Mason County, 2 in Brimley, and 2 in the West Shore Educational Service District in Ludington. There you go. All right, so we've talked about electric school buses. And now, something that we'd almost forgotten was going on, I guess you could say, because I guess I shouldn't search for state names. That was a mess. Okay, there we go. Because our friends at Tesla took forever and a day to actually uh, do this, but this is par for the course with this site. The Giga Nevada plant has started to see its expansion. So Zangler says the groundbreaking Giga Nevada Tesla Semi News. Tesla had a groundbreaking ceremony on Wednesday, January 17th, for the separate high-volume semi-production building, and this confirms recent speculation. This video shows, wow, warehouses on wheels, progress of the last few weeks. Full speed ahead into the future of trucking. Note that the latest drone video has a flyby versus a flyover. There's a YouTube link, and if you've been waiting since the Jurassic period, seems appropriate for your support. Uh, there was another version of this that I thought I linked, and I said I linked this one instead. But they went over how the building was structured, like what part is going to be semi, what part's going to be cells, like new cells, and what part is existing cells. And it was nice to look at, and it is probably still on my list, but it did not end up in this order. Unless there's an article there. Nope, I don't see an article. So moving on, those of you that caught the tweet before I went live, I said GM has given up on Cruise, Super Cruise, I should say, and later articles suggest that it might just be Ultra Cruise. Hopefully, the one I've linked has the update if that's the case. All right, so I said, wow, GM is throwing in the towel on Super Cruise. Could they be the major OEM in talks to license Tesla's FSD beta? Or are they switching tracks entirely to Mobileye? What do you think? And Tesla already removed their article. Elon Times thought that it would be probably going to Mobileye because Ford should probably be the first one to use FSD over GM, in his opinion. And I said, yeah, I was thinking it'd be Ford as well, other than their troubles with Cruise, other than their troubles with the Cruise division. I wouldn't have expected them to cancel Super Cruise and Ultra Cruise so soon. Ultra Cruise, I could see that being canceled because I don't think they took any money for it like Tesla did with FSD Beta, but it was supposed to do what FSD does, and now it's gone. Uh, I'm wondering if the reason that Tesla already got rid of their article is because they updated it. Let's see. Because usually, even if the post is updated, they don't take it out of my list like that. Yep. All right, so that's already. And then let's see. Tesla Cybertruck and Model Y production is noticeably up in Giga, Texas. That's nice. And this one I didn't. This one I breezed by this morning. BYD to stop pouch type production amid durability concerns. And I use a Peplink router. Starlink authorizes Peplink as its first technology provider. So let's do Cruise. Yeah, that was the update. But they could have just updated the article rather than deleting the tweet. GM said to be ending Ultra Cruise semi-autonomous driving development. And we've got a new chat. Enjoy journeys. Greetings and happy Sunday. Indeed. Good to see you, Lee. Where is this? This is General Motors said to be ending Ultra Cruise. So that actually makes this make a lot more sense than what I read earlier this week. GM attempts to correct issues with its separate self-driving company, Cruise, following an October incident. You know, I don't like that word accident. There are some, but this was not that. Accidents are different than crashes, and negligence is different than a gun accident. Yeah, I agree. It is cold where Anders is. What about where you are, Lee? How's it looking right now? I know it's colder than normal. I saw people in sweaters and light jackets. One of the sources says that GM will end the Ultra Cruise program to instead put energy into developing Super Cruise. Okay, so Super Cruise is still here to stay, but it doesn't sound like they're going to be able to do the navigating the city and the turning at 90-degree intersections and following your route, which is unfortunate because it would have been cool. And Mobileye's got that. Tesla's got that. So I think that Elon Times was right when he said that the major automaker is probably still Ford. We don't know that for sure. It's all pure speculation. But if they're doubling down on Super Cruise, then it definitely isn't GM. At least as it's great in Nevada. All right, let's see what we've got next. We've got yes. This one was no, that's not it. I'm sorry. I've got the list of raw articles and I've got the list that they should be in, and it's a little confusing. But as you saw last week, I can open them all up in time if I get up in time and have it all ready for you all. All right. So we talked about Giga Nevada, and now we're going to talk about we talked about Super Cruise. Ah, yes. This one is important to me. We're going to talk about hydrogen. And y'all know I'm not really a fan of hydrogen, so what could he possibly have to say about hydrogen? Let's find out. All right, so this is a article in Electric. The man CEO, or MAN, it's a truck manufacturer, mostly in Europe. They say that it's impossible for hydrogen to compete with battery electric vehicles. So Alexander Vlaskamp, CEO of the German heavy truck maker MAN Trucking, and Bus, told reporters that it was impossible for hydrogen to effectively compete with battery electric trucks. But if that's true, why is MAN still working on hydrogen fuel cell technology? Good question. Probably because they got a certain amount of government money to do it, and they have to fulfill the deliverables to get the rest of the money on their contract. Let's see what he says. Whether you find yourself among the industry insiders or a group of keyboard warriors on Facebook, odds are you'll have no trouble finding someone willing to argue that uh, argue that hydrogen, not batteries, will be powering vehicles of tomorrow. One place you won't hear that argument is the C-suite of MAN Trucking, where the CEO claims that the company doesn't see hydrogen as viable as a viable fuel for transportation. It's not. It's a combustible battery. Battery is not a fuel. Hydrogen is not a fuel. um, I guess hydrogen can be a fuel, but the way we use hydrogen is not as a fuel. It's just a combustible battery. Um, it's one thing to have the technology, and another thing for the technology to be viable. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt, to have some R&D and some expertise should some breakthrough happen where we can get hydrogen for a cost-effective, environmentally friendly uh, fashion. But we're not there. We're not there at all. He told the Spanish language magazine Expansión, it's translated from Spanish, but still has the accent. Uh, Green hydrogen is not available for transportation, and there's no point in switching from diesel to hydrogen if the energy source is not sustainable. Exactly, because gray and blue hydrogen are not, they don't fulfill the mission. And in fact, sometimes they're even more pollution, they make more pollution than just burning it straight in a diesel truck. And definitely more than burning it in a diesel power plant. Uh, Not there are that many of those around the world outside of large islands. Keep in mind there are two ways to look at the concept of sustainability as it pertains to commercial trucking. First is sustainability of the business. Can we keep operating the way we have been? And the second is environmental sustainability, which is what we're after here. Uh, it makes a point that hydrogen, at least for now, isn't sustainable in either sense of the word. I agree, but it's easy enough just to look at the numbers and determine that. All right, so top comment, let's see what they say and see if we agree. I worked as an engineer at a pump company, and at one point was assigned to the specialty pump division. One of their projects was to supply fueling pumps for hydrogen stations in California. At one point, I discussed my involvement in EVs and the widespread conviction among the group that hydrogen as a fuel source was going nowhere. While we could make some profits and gain some new experience by accepting projects in the industry, I felt it was a huge mistake to assume it was going to be any kind of long term revenue source. To my relief, my manager told me he and the executives already knew that. It's an opportunity for revenue, so you make the sale, but don't bank on any future. At that point in time, the only money in the industry was to speak of was government grants driven by hydrogen lobbyists. Didn't we just say that? The whole thing is a sham. Green hydrogen only makes sense with excess grid capacity, like that we saw at that island in the UK. They the only way to use that extra energy was to bottle it and ship it to the mainland, or have a bunch of battery barges. But it was easier to just pump hydrogen than it was to load and unload batteries or charge and discharge a ferry. Um, so it only makes sense to excess grid capacity, and if you have a decent distribution and still have fossil fuels on the grid, you can't really say that you have excess capacity, can you? And any renewable energy used to generate green hydrogen is not displacing fossil fuels from the grid. So how is it green? Take a look. You guys are chatting here. Lee says 55 with light rain. That's not bad. Yes, it is. That is comical. Let me check to make sure if we have any Facebook or anything coming through. No, that's all right. Although this is easier to read, this one on the multi-stream, but it's missing some of you guys' chats. Interesting. Click there, click here, click back here. Let's continue. Oh, the mouse is still doing its thing. I think that's an insightful comment right there. The CEO begins by pointing out that green hydrogen is much more expensive to produce, and than producing electricity from renewable sources like wind or solar. He goes on to explain that in addition to the higher production costs per unit of usable energy, hydrogen must be distributed and stored in specialized high pressure containers that are prone to leaks. Yeah, I mean, hydrogen just goes through the walls of whatever container you put it in. Today, you cannot buy hydrogen for less than 13 or 14 euros. Yikes. Anders, what is, if you know, what is petrol going for around you? So 13 euros is $14.17 US currently. And then, as we saw previously, in the US, we're currently selling our hydrogen for $36 a kilogram. Uh, so it's not viable when diesel doesn't cost anywhere near $36 a gallon. Uh, mm, let's see. So if all that's true, why is man continuing to invest in hydrogen? Well, research makes sense, but to invest in the actual building of the trucks is what's weird. Only to test our hypothesis. Oh yeah, so you've made your. Let's just keep burning money just for the hell of it. We may use hydrogen for transportation in 2035, but only if there's enough green hydrogen at the right place and that the necessary infrastructure is in place. Okay, so yeah, if you keep yourself learning the skills and techniques, but you don't actually commercialize it, but you're ready to go should something happen, that it's not a bad choice. It's not a good use of the money, but it's not a bad choice. They've already received 800 order requests for its electric semi trucks, which can cover between 600 and 800 kilometers a day, depending on the order spec. They say that they've been working on improved batteries that will allow over 1,000 kilometers, or 600-ish miles, on daily driving. Not bad. Electric says that almost every player in the industry, from Hyundai and Volvo to Bosch and Cummins, is investing in some form of hydrogen fueled trucking. As such, it's surprising to see the CEO of a major player in the space break ranks and come out against hydrogen as a viable fuel source. Yes, but also it's good to see that they understand that this is a lie and a scam, rather than thinking that they're all just so incompetent. Oh, we're down to 39 now. Um, all right, so that was fun. This is one that came up that I didn't touch on. Well, that one too, but the Toyota greenwashing AI CEO Copilot. If you saw that with this symbol here, it was fake. And another one I saw but didn't bother with is Jeep teases the EV Wagoneer 5, or Wagoneer S, sorry, ahead of its debut. Here's what to know so far. It's got about, 600 horsepower. It's all electric. They're claiming 500, 600 miles of range. We'll see what they actually put out. And even more importantly, we'll see what plug is on the thing. Because if it can go 500 miles and then you're stuck, what does it matter? Unless it's going to be a daily commuter, but then why do you need an SUV for a daily commuter? The whole point of an SUV is it deals with some of those less frequent trips that you sometimes run into. Next, we would talk about. That's a weird one to put on top. My windows are layering funny. Oh, there was a development in the situation where my Model S was rear-ended 4 times by a semi-truck. We may soon be able to talk about it and share a video. We'll see. Uh, it'll be a month at the earliest, but don't hold your breath on that either. All right, so we talked about hydrogen and trucks. All right, let's spend some time on IF metal. Because why not? I think Andrew sent us some stuff about this week. Um, yeah, let's start with this one. And the way that Andrew sends me the news is a way I like. You guys just tag me on X and I'll see it, and then I'll add it to the show notes. Another way is if you send me a direct message, or if you hit me on another platform if we're already connected on there. Uh, Facebook will work, but it might be late by the time I see it, just because the notifications on Facebook are. I do it on my phone, and for some reason they just aren't set up to give them to me. New phone is coming at the end of the month. Maybe that one will be better because the last one was better than this one. Maybe they'll fix whatever they changed. Uh, oh yes, IF Metal. Let's open this and this and this, and then we'll go back here. We'll close that. I said three. I see two. So there's another one in the middle missing. One from me. All right. Well, that won't go in the middle there. All right. So Nicholas says, and again, Tesla does something that no one have done before. No one has done before. Oh, we got a message from Anders. We'll see what we got. Anders says, yes, you don't want to take a walk in the park. And he's looking that up. Perfect. Tesla sorry. And again, Tesla has done something that no one has done before. Tesla is like no other company that's ever existed. They're something unique for sure. The Swedish Transport Agency has previously said that the system has never been used in this way before. Correct. Tesla may continue to use replacement plates to get around the blockade, says the Swedish Transport Agency. The loophole was supposed to be reviewed by the authority and now announces that they are not proceeding with the investigation, says the SVT Nyater. Um, let's continue. Tesla uses a method of changing ownership and the Swedish Transport Agency service for replacement plates to get new cars out, even during the conflict. The replacement plates are actually intended to replace damaged or stolen plates, but in this case, it'll be the cars first. Tesla can make these orders themselves and doesn't have to ask the car owners themselves to order. The Swedish Transport Agency has previously said that the system has never been used in this way before, because uh, this is an unprecedented level of strike. You guys have never done anything like this to the others before. Uh, the loophole became known in December, and the Swedish Transport Agency then announced that they would review the rules. They announced that they are not investigating the matter further. Uh, I'll share my comment in a minute. The Swedish Transport Agency has previously said that the system has never been used this way before. Wait. I think I just reread a paragraph. Stand by. Don't have to ask the car owners themselves. Never been used this way. They're not investigating further. The authority will not proceed in an investigation regarding the service possibility, writes Susan Carlson, uh, Dahlberg Carlson, section manager of the Vehicle Information Department at the Swedish Transport Agency, in an email to SVT. This one, Anders Nyman says that I need to translate it. That's what he says. All right, this is machine translation. So, Anders, tell us if I got it wrong. Translate to English. Tesla may continue to use replacement signs, or plates, to circumvent the blockade, the Swedish Transport Agency announces. The loophole was supposed to be reviewed, but the authority now announces that they will not proceed with the investigation. And then it's got a link. So, if that's the end of the tweet, we'll switch to my tweet. I said, I quoted the part of his write up where he said the replacement plates are actually intended to replace or damage stolen plates, but in this case, it will be the cars first. And I said, because they were stolen, or at least ransomed by PostNord and IF Metal. So they are not using a loophole. They are not doing something that unheard of. What is unheard of is somebody stealing all of the car's plates from one manufacturer. That's what's unheard of. And so Tesla's just responding appropriately as any manufacturer or owner would do, or say not manufacturer, any dealer or owner would do, to make sure that the cars can be driven. You did this to yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. I wonder at this point, though, if the government will be able to recover the costs of these replacement plates from IF Metal or PostNord. It seems to be easy to get it from PostNord since they are the contractor that's supposed to be delivering them, and they are being manufactured by the contractor that is supposed to be manufacturing them. So that's a question, because I'm sure that the plates are considered a government service, and whatever is being charged to Tesla or the customer as a replacement fee cannot be the whole cost. So that would leave the the thieves on hand to make the government whole. And while we're at it, if Tesla passes the fee on to the customer, can the customers now start a class action against this sympathy strike to get their money back? I don't know how your guys' legal system is set up for stuff like this, but I do know you have courts and a concept of theft. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. All right, so this one is related, and it sounds like there's a walkback, but it's not. This is related to the court case where Tesla wanted to go pick them up themselves. So let's look at that. And some of the comments were quite insightful. So Nicholas says, this is a story about license plates in Sweden from the transport agency. The manufacturer and Tesla under the ongoing strike. Story about transport agency can clearly help if IF Metal, help IF Metal rather than fulfilling the mission. And yeah, it does sound, when you read through it, it does sound like at least some people at the agency chose a side. Very interesting BS story from the Swedish Transport Agency. Very good journalistic from this person, Kniders? Anders Nyman, okay. So same one we saw quoted in the other story. Please give him a follow. All right, I'll follow you. I just have to translate all your tweets. The agreement would have given Tesla the right to collect registration plates directly from the manufacturer, SMC. The Swedish Transport Agency refuses and refers to scam reasons. Anders says is 17.74 SEK, was that Swedish kroners, or 1.7 US dollars for petrol, and they don't do it in gallons; they do it in liters, and 18.49 Swedish kroners, or $1.77 per liter for diesel. There we go. So even with the lower price that you guys have for hydrogen than we have, we're talking, what do you say, 12 to 13 coming from the CEO, or at least the person who wrote the article, 12 to 13 versus under 2. And then over here, we're looking around, what, $3 and $4 per gallon. And I think that's the last time I saw a price here, versus $36 per kilogram, which is the equivalent measure of what's delivered to you. Yikes. All right, so the agreement would have given Tesla the right to collect the registration plates directly from SMC. Uh, and after Seiko's notice against PostNord came into force on November 20th, deliveries of new license plates to Tesla cars were stopped, and the buyer's ability to pick up their cars as well. You have to have a plate on the car when you drive off. Tesla quickly got an okay from the manufacturer, SMC, to pick up the signs on site, but SMC's agreement with the Swedish Transport Agency required the authority's approval, because until they're released, they belong to them, which makes sense. Some sense, I should say. The Swedish Transport Agency instead refused, and so Tesla sued, and they got the approval to continue until there was an appeal, and then it got closed right back down. So on November 27th, at the district court, gave Sweden Transport Agency 7 days to let Tesla start collecting its signs directly from the manufacturer, and the decision was appealed by the authority, but at the same time, given an additional agreement was drawn up quickly with the manufacturer, which opened up the possibility. So they complied while doing their appeal. And then the agreement was completed on December 1st, and the Swedish Transport Agency emailed SMC and asked them to sign 2 copies, scan and email the originals. The agreement states that SMC should sort out Tesla signs, and that a specially appointed person can pick them up at the manufacturer's premises every day between 3:30 and 4 p.m. That sounds reasonable until, however, a supplementary agreement also stated that the agreement ceases to apply if a judgment or decision states that the Swedish Transport Agency does not need to disclose them. I guess not necessarily disclose, but dispense them. And so happened that the Court of Appeal overturned the district's interim decision and referred the matter back there. So then everything they worked on was for nothing, and let's continue on. The Swedish Transport Agency argues that the court argues to the courts that it is unsafe to let someone pick up the signs from the manufacturer, as they could end up in the wrong hands. This is bull. It's bogus. Nonsense. Tesla replies and points out that until 2015, it was possible for anyone to collect their plates from SMC. That's how we do it here. Here's my ID. You guys issued it. It's me. Give me a plate. There you go. The Swedish Transport Agency's press manager, Michael and really another Anderson? All right, cool. Today confirms that the previous opportunity for Anders. Okay. I can confirm that there were instances where we made an exception to normal routine and allowed number plates to be collected directly from plate manufacturer SMC. However, this facility was removed on April 11th of 2015. Or November 4th of 2015. It depends on which dates he uses. Either way, a couple years now. Routine exceptions? Question mark. No, it would not be routine to make an exception. It required a contract with our managers in customer service who assessed each case individually, whether an exception could be granted or not. But you guys have already done all this work for the court, so that's weird. Routine or not, in any case, there were routines for something that the Swedish Transport Agency today claims is too unsafe. Oh my goodness, you're going to get shanked while you're picking up your plates. Yes, until 2015, owners were allowed to collect their plates from the manufacturer's SMC if they asked, and decisions on individual cases were made at the customer service level. Sounds like you can still do that today. On 12/1 of this year, so I'm assuming in December on the 1st, but it could also have been a couple days ago on January 12th, both Tesla and the Swedish Transport Agency submitted renewed submissions to the district court, and the authority argues Tesla's desired order would mean that the authority loses the necessary supervision and control over the provision of license plates. What? How? It is not proportionate that the Swedish Transport Agency should be forced to concede safety aspects and lose supervision and control over the distribution of license plates. Do you guys not have IDs there? That sounds sketch. The authority further points how society would suffer if signs fell into the wrong hands. Well, they already are. They already are. They're not getting where they've been delivered to. The authority further points out how. Oh yeah, we talked about that. So then we've got Andrew Nyman. Let's translate again. And I definitely won't be able to read the court papers because they're an image. The agreement would have given Tesla the right to collect the plates from the SMC. Agency refuses, citing scam reasons. And all right. Andrew's comment. This is clearly what an American would call BS. A year ago, anyone at the Swedish Transport Agency's consumer service could grant exceptions in and let the car's owner pick up the plates himself on presentation of suitable identification. So you guys do have ID. But now it is impossible together with Tesla and SMC to agree on which two people Tesla would be allowed to exactly do the same thing. If the authority was in any way worried about signs ending up in the wrong hands, with false signs as a consequence, plates, they would never have allowed PostNord to handle the shipments, which by the way are extremely easily identified in the mail aisle, because you guys have these really long, thin license plates compared to even ours are pretty identifiable in the mail as well, but they very well could be photographs or something. But when you pick it up, it's a plate. You can tell. Yours, you can tell just by the shape of the package. Hey, that's a registration plate. Anyway, let's continue on. The reluctance to let Tesla pick up its own signs seems rather to have political reasons. Yes, it's exactly what it looks like. Alternatively, a fear of being accused of undermining the union's blockade. There you go. Undermining the union's blockade against Tesla. But an authority must first and foremost fulfill its mission not to protect the union's influence. Acting like this now is just wrong. Right, because if you're a government entity and it's not a legal requirement to have a union, then you need to continue to fulfill your mission, and they are not. All right, so let's see. My question, assuming they allow Tesla to pick up the plates on the due date, a person is actually a union rep in disguise, carrying Tesla identification, collects all the plates and leaves never to be seen again. What will happen then? Who will be responsible? So that very well could be the argument of the government. However, since the agreement said they needed to name two individuals at Tesla, surely Tesla will have communicated back with the SMC, hey, Anders and Jimmy are going to come pick up the plates. And if you see anybody who's not Anders and Jimmy, you don't give them the plates, even if they have a Tesla badge. That's pretty easy. In fact, the Tesla badge probably wouldn't matter because you'd show them your government ID, right? Just saying. And then Bond 007, same person, I guess, says there are enough union sympathizers within the agency to make things happen. or they can easily pretend they gave it away to someone else, stating that they thought the people were really from Tesla. I could totally see them doing that, but at the same time, if it's not Anders and Jimmy, and you gave away the plates, now your butt is on the line for giving out plates to the wrong person. But of course, they could just use that and say, "See, the process doesn't work. Our people aren't smart enough to know how to read an ID. That's why we can't do it for anybody." Uh, so somebody said something, and I said, "No, they've got more in their bag of tricks they can pull over at Metal." Speaking of Metal and bag of tricks, they have not been able to shut down Giga Berlin, but pirates were able to do it for 2 weeks. What did I say? Volvo or Volkswagen and the Tesla plant both shut down because of disruptions in shipping. All right, so when an entire country and its government conspire to block the operations of a public company and doing its lawful and approved business, what does that say about that country? Nicholas says, "Yep, pretty much it." The PostNord workers that collect the plates must all be. Oh, that's right, because you still have to get them to PostNord. The postal workers that collect the plates uh, must all be special ops with military top secret level clearance. Or this is BS political talk to protect the union. The person would be specifically identified, so not just anyone from Tesla will be able to pick up the plates. Exactly. In fact, that was the instruction from the court. Without proof they hurt business, everything can happen in life or in their own mind. I mean, I'm not against unions. I'm just against this action because it's unlawful and immoral. Continuing on, where's our next story? All right, so we talked about PostNord and IF Metal and Tesla. That's enough of them for today, unless something is breaking. Let's talk about ambulances. Whoa, I was not in the typing box. I was in the note itself. There we go. We'll click there. I didn't do my tweet for this one. I did their tweet. Interesting choice. Close that, because we are taxing the mess out of the system for some reason. I'll close this one too, because it gets using a bit of RAM. And then maybe the mouse will come back. We're running Adobe Acrobat for what? I don't even have a PDF open. Close that. Not playing games. We don't need a game launcher. Oh yeah, Adobe Illustrator uses a significant amount of RAM. It's the stuff I've been working on. Got some vectors with like hundreds of layers. All right, continuing on. We're gonna talk about ambulances. We're gonna talk about olive trees. Not exactly olive trees, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. And then, all right, so we talked. Whoops, I'm mixing them up again. We already talked about GM Super Cruise. We talked about Mazda, and yes, that one I keep saying. And let's see. If I missed somebody sitting in the waiting room, nope. Or if I did, they left. Yes, and then we're gonna talk about Some more Ford stuff. Come on, computer. Here. Click. Excuse me. Click there. Drink some water. Sorry. Okay. Oh, it's warming up. We're at 42 degrees now, and the windows just popped because heat expansion, thermal expansion. All right, so London is going to get all new Ford, or sorry, more all new Ford Mustang Mach-E's as ambulances. So obviously these are not for patient transport. They are for EMTs to arrive and service you when you are in dire need. And they're going to do it with an EV. Because electrify all the things. And that's good to see. They already had a few, and this is just adding to what they already had. And so we like to see it. I was confused because they had a Ford Transit with a ambulance box on the back, and I couldn't tell if that was the Ford Transit EV with the charger, or if that was just a gas Ford Transit, and that was like the radar module. So they already have 42 Mustang Mach-E's in their fleet, and now they are adding 12 more. Gotta love it. And that was all there was for that story. All right, next up, we already talked about this one. Oh, I see why. I was looking for olives, and I found that one again. Whoops. What's going on over there? All right, so olive trees aren't just for oil anymore. Ford's making car parts from prunings. It's 40% lighter and contains less plastic. Hashtag Ford. Let's take a look at this from writer 01001101. Got a lot of friends with 010s in their name. I'm hearing weird noises outside. So Ford experiments with auto part prototypes made from olive tree waste. Hopefully they find this makes sense and can reduce our oil consumption. Ford is experimenting with auto part prototypes made from olive tree scraps. The engineers in Cologne started researching the possibilities of using food waste to create auto part prototypes. They found that pruning olive trees created 7 million tons of waste every year and thought it would be an excellent material for their experiment. One major benefit for these fibers one major benefit is these fibers are usually waste. They are not used for anything else, said the Ford project lead. Trying there it is. Ford project lead Inga Weimer. And so we don't have any additional land usage or water consumption to grow these fibers. Ford recycled and repurposed olive tree scraps from Andalusia, Spain, a region with the highest production of olive in the world. That's pretty cool. Their research led to the Composilive project, which yielded auto part prototypes which were durable and lighter. Ford engineers also reduced the amount of plastic in vehicle parts and its carbon footprint through the Compulsive project. The prototype cars from the project were made of 40% olive tree fibers and 60% recycled polypropylene plastic. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's doing both of them right there, reducing and recycling. In a Ford video, all right, that's cool. I'll watch this video later. Tell us more about the process. And I'll put a link to the video in the chat so you guys can watch it after we're through today. All right, so for those of you not watching on YouTube, you'll have to look in the YouTube chat playback because it's the only one I got on hand right now. At some point, I'll either get like a moderator or producer or something, but we're not anywhere close to that yet, so. Or if the other platforms start, you know, carrying their weight, we'll make extra effort to deal with them. Not that the viewers aren't important, just the platforms themselves aren't making themselves easy to use. Like how Twitch won't let us do a multi-stream. Or not, well, how Twitch puts restrictions on our multi-stream. They used to not let us do multi-streams. Ford, ever the productive producer, planning to grow olive trees to kickstart their EV strategy. Nice car, call Farley. Mario disagrees. He calls it ridiculous bauble. Or babble. Olive branches have never been waste. They're used as fuel and used for carvings. Um, the prunings, we're talking like twigs. Would you carve with twigs? I mean, I guess somebody could, but if you've ever been to the Christmas market, they are far bigger waste products to deal with, mainly products derived from making gasoline. As for soy-based foams, it's an industry standard, and millions of acres are used to grow soy as feed. Yeah, but the point that Ford was trying to make is they didn't have to use additional land for growing because it was something they claimed was a waste. Uh, I haven't been to a Christmas market, but it makes sense for Christmas handcrafts as a beautiful but somewhat irregular wood with Hollyland connotations. Until this article, the only olive wood I've seen was in small Palestinian artisanal goods. Uh, all right, let's not get into the politics of it all. No. Right, so this one was me. Remember what we at the Tesla Life and Patrick 0101 remember we always say, if you see a Tesla config you love, and if you see a Tesla config you love, snag it if it fits your budget. Model X just saw a color shakeup. Everything but stealth gray costs extra and ditches the tax credit. Time to reevaluate those dream wheels. So what happened here is Tesla made the Model X paint colors free for a while, and then they undid that, and then they brought it back, and now it's gone again. So if you want to choose a color that's not uh, the stealth gray, it's going to cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, I believe. But the problem there is that if you add anything to a Model X long range, it is no longer qualifying for the tax credit. You add the seats, you change the color of the interior, you change and add the yoke instead of the stupid round wheel. Um, Not stupid, but it doesn't. It's not. The interior wasn't designed for it, and it blocks your screen. So anyway, if you make any changes to the car, it doesn't qualify for the tax credit, and so now any color you want, as long as it's stealth gray. And the reason I phrased it the way I did is because, like we say, if you see something you like that's in your budget, just get it. Because yes, there's a chance the price will go down on you, or it could go up. I guess I should do it this way, or it could go up. And sometimes when it goes up, or even if it doesn't go up, or if it goes down, they could be changes to the configuration that you might like. Or in the case of the Model 3, there could be changes to the configuration that you don't like. Where in this case, we went and added a bunch of cool stuff. But if you were really into having a turn signal stock and a gear selector stock, those are gone. So if it fits what you want and you can afford it and you want it, get it today, because waiting is not a good strategy if they've got what you want. Like in my case, I wanted the Model S40, and I wasn't waiting because I thought the price would go down or anything like that. I was saving up my down payment, and then poof, Elon canceled it. So I know firsthand how that goes. Like right now, I'm waiting on Cybertruck. I shouldn't, but I got to make sure I can actually afford it first. So that's why I'm waiting on Cybertruck. Yeah, so that was all there was to say about that one. Moving on. it's Ford cheesing. It's Ford teasing the F-150 Lightning Raptor we've been waiting for? And the answer is no. And yes. One, they didn't call it a Raptor, and two, it was a hand-built demo. It says update. I'm curious what the update is. Ford unveiled a high-performance electric truck ahead of a Ford Performance Season launch event. And is this the F-150 Lightning Raptor we've been waiting for? No. The Raptor badge is reserved for Ford's highest performance models. It has been featured on Ford's most iconic nameplates, including the F-150, Bronco, and Ranger. Ford calls the 2024 F-150 Raptor R its most powerful and capable off-road performance truck ever, with 720 horsepower, 640 foot-pounds of torque. But if Ford ever released an electric version, the instant torque would easily outshine the gas-powered model. And they could charge extra for it too, because why not? It's a Halo vehicle. Alright, so let's see. That's where the Lightning comes in. Ford unveiled the all-electric Lightning 2021 with 775 foot-pounds of torque, the most of any F-150 ever. Okay, get to the new one. Ford teases the Raptor electric truck. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads, says Jim Farley. More soon. And they've got a YouTube video. And so now we can see the F-150 Lightning switchgear. Update Ford has released a new update unveiling the F-150 Lightning switchgear. Ford's leader says switchgear is an all-electric pickup truck built for off-road performance. It's Ford's latest EV demonstrator model. And they've got a lot of them where it's just like cool stuff that's never going to see the light of day. Like the Ford Transit sport van with the 4 electric motors and others. The Mustang Mach-E that is like super done up that they're not going to sell. Yeah, but this would never make production, this handbrake. But you can see it jumping through the air, looking real cool. Alright, so anyway, what's next? Oh yeah, we just talked about that. So, let's go through the list of stories and make sure there's nothing left on the cutting room floor so I don't have to make another addendum video. It's just because even that, like, it was just a continuation of this, and it was just me talking at the screen, and there were no comments or anything. Just something about my pre-recorded videos, they just take longer to trim and cut and like get ready to go. Versus a live stream, there's less. I mean, there's pressure, but it's less. There's less that goes into getting it all prepared and getting a thumbnail and getting the text just right. And I don't have to caption it. All right, so we've got one right here. Look at that. This one would have been lost to us. Check on the time. Yeah, we got time. All right, so this one is coming from Norway. Electric car cold. Whoa, I just lost my screen. Electric car cold weather fears dispelled in Norway, and my screen is back. I guess I lost USB because like everything is like coming back online and clicking and popping and stuff, or at least that USB. I don't know. Let me make sure because if I lost all USB, you guys might not be hearing me. Okay, yeah, we're still good. Um, Norway has been experiencing a cold wave since the beginning of the year, increasing the need for for car recovery services, says Svien from the recovery service Vikings Assistance Group, noting a sharp increase in missions since 2022. He's seen a clear winner in mind. Sorry, this thin text on white with these glasses, and there's dust on the glasses too. Um, explained that 2022 was when Norway experienced its last typical winter. The Vikings completed 13,000 assignments in the first 9 days of January 2023. In comparison, Viking had 34,000 assignments in the first 9 days of 2024. Wow. According to local media outlet, insurance companies and car recovery services in Norway have been busy with issues arising from the frigid cold weather this winter. In the first 14 days of January, Norway experienced temperatures of negative 7 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 21.7 degrees Celsius and negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 18.9 degrees centigrade. Interesting. Uh, 2024, most emissions relate to vehicles with battery problems or drivers having trouble starting their cars. Sounds like combustion cars to me. He also noted that 23% of the trouble starting, well, 87% are from fossil fuel vehicles. He added that 23% of the cars on Norwegian roads are EVs, which we knew. They're the EV capital of the world. Uh, why? What does this have to do with the article? Nothing. Moving on. Excuse me. All right, so we talked about the olive trees. Let's close the search, go back to regular view. Northvolt secures a $5 billion loan, the largest green loan ever in Europe. Talked about Mazda. I talked about sales of Teslas. Talked about Super Cruise. Reminded you, if you see a Tesla you like, get it before they change the deal. Let's talk about Boring Company. They didn't make the list for some reason. Probably because their name is Boring, which made it seem like something that would be boring to discuss. This is exactly my point about the Boring Company's potential. The ability to travel directly to your destination at your own pace, without detours or waiting for others, is a game changer. While comparing it to a subway system is still while comparing it to a subway system is still early, the vision will become more apparent as additional stations are activated. Innovation Transit, the Boring Company. So the Boring Company posted that a 1 hour time lapse at 60x speed of the central station during CES. This is one of 5 loop stations which operated at the awesome 2024 event. And then they tagged the Las Vegas Convention Center. So here we can see, look, you get in at your own leisure. The cars are still going by as you're getting in and out. And whenever you see a Model X, there's a very high chance that there's a limited mobility person getting in or out because that's what they are reserved for. Doesn't mean they don't do regular trips, but they're equipped to carry wheelchairs and scooters, and you know the fact that the whole side of the car goes away makes it easier to get in and out of the rear of that vehicle. So, I mean, look at this. It's the rest of the cars are able to just keep on flowing, and like I said several times in the past, if this doesn't work out for any reason, then you just lay down tracks, and you'll have a subway at a fraction of the cost. But I don't think that will be necessary. And then Patrick says, exactly, it's different or better than subways. All networks evolve to point if performance matters. And then we've got a link to his article on carswithcords.net. So this one is from July 3rd of 2021. And the reason that boring will win that nobody understands. So let's put a link in the chat for that. Oh, Timothy's here. He says, greetings from the rainy Southwest. Greetings, Timothy. Good to see you. What temperatures were you guys looking at today? And then there's the link to the carswithcords.net article, so you guys can peruse that. And let's see what else the computer tried to leave on our cutting room floor. This isn't quite a recall, so I didn't know what to call it, and the article just opened up on the wrong window. Stand by. Let's move you over to where people can see you. Move tab to carswithcords.net. There we are. And let's get that other searing, eye-blindingly colored window. Whew. I didn't need a suntan. Tesla is pausing Model 3 deliveries in Australia. Oh wait, so like I said, my note on this one was, I guess this is a recall? Question mark. Um, Tesla is pausing Model 3 deliveries in Australia starting January 18th, so a couple days ago. This is due to what Tesla says is a compliance matter. The matter is that the new Model 3, so the upgraded new headlights, new facelift Model 3, does not have a top tether support for the rear middle child seats. And so because that's lacking, they're not allowed to sell them in Australia. And some of the comments were pointing out that this is something people do use. It's an affordable car, and some people need three car seats across to the point where they have comments about, hey, this combination of car seats works best at three across, or if you get this one, it's good at three across. So if you were trying to upgrade your Model 3 and didn't know about this change, it could result in less safety for your family, assuming that you needed all three. But since that's a requirement in Australia, it's not something you have to worry about unless you manage to get one of these cars. So this is a letter that Tesla sent to somebody who was waiting to pick up Model 3. We regret to inform you that deliveries of Model 3 in Australia will be paused from the business day 17 January. Relates to a technical compliance matter that we are working closely with the relevant authorities to resolve. We understand that these changes may lead to a delay in delivery and want to assure you that resolving this matter is our top priority. We expect to recommence deliveries within the coming weeks. I mean, they've got to add a loop and a cover. They might not even need to add the cover. But the loop has to be tested, so probably crashing the rear seat at a certain force to make sure that it's still safe for the child. Or maybe they take the loop and they put a force gauge on it to make sure that it doesn't break before a certain um, amount of force. Then update the China factory and then put them on a boat, and boom. It can be even quicker if it's something they're allowed to retrofit. I don't know if they'll. Actually, it's the manufacturer doing it, so they might be able to retrofit it. Unlike in some countries in Europe, you can't add a tow bar after the fact if the car was not already equipped for towing. We expect to recommence deliveries within the coming weeks. Our team will be in touch to provide further updates on your delivery as soon as possible. We sincerely apologize for this inconvenience. If you have any inquiries or require assistance, please contact us on blah blah blah. You guys spell inquiries interestingly in Auslan there. I already have mine. Does that mean it'll get recalled? Yeah, that's why I said this looked like a recall. And Drive Tesla Canada says probably the recall will likely involve replacing the rear parcel shelf with one that includes a cover to access the tether point. Oh, okay. So this is going to be easy for Tesla. It's already got it there. They just have to have a cover with a hole in it. It is there. There's just no way to access it currently. So that's not bad at all. Weird they chose to do that though. Weird. I wonder why they eliminated it. 15 cents cost savings? Rattles? At least this means that folks in other countries who want a middle car seat will have a part they can order. Absolutely. Major oversight. The ability to put a kid in the middle seat is a big deal for families. There's entire reviews around which car seat fits three across in the Model 3. Installing a seat without the top tether is possible, but at the cost of safety, increased head and neck injuries. Um, so we'll retweet that. And then let's continue real quick. State of Michigan, school buses. Oh yeah, I did talk about the van. It didn't get included. The Van ProMaster has 162 miles of EV range and can charge at 150 kilowatts. So what I like about this van, aside from not liking that it doesn't have any NACs or future for NACs, they point out it's a rebadged Fiat Ducato. So are all the other ProMasters. Or an Opel Moveno. It's got a 110 kilowatt hour battery. It can charge 11 kilowatts on level 2. I mean, it's competent. The range is not what I would like, but I'm not running a delivery service. But there's some stuff I want to do with a van at some point. Doesn't say how much time is needed to recharge. Yeah, because the charging curve will make a difference. They've got some pictures there, but they had a lot of pictures, so I don't know if I want to go through them. Then they compare the other EV vans, which was a nice thing. So you've got, that wasn't there last time I looked at it. You've got the ProMaster EV at 268 foot-pounds, so 268 horsepower, 302 foot-pounds of torque, versus the E-Transit, which is lower horsepower but higher torque, versus the Sprinter, which is even lower horsepower and lower torque. Rivian doesn't say either of those figures. Battery capacity 110 kilowatt hours versus the Ford at 68 kilowatt hours, which is just, it really limits its use case. The Sprinter is 113 kilowatt hours, and Rivian doesn't say what theirs is. And then you've also got the, whenever it gets back into production, you've got the Bright Drop Zevo 600, which has a 200 and something kilowatt hour battery, which is nice. Maximum payload on the Ram is 3,020 versus the Ford at 3,880, the Sprinter at only 2,600, and the Rivian at 2,734. It's also the third largest. The Zevo is bigger at 600, but again, it's not on sale right now. ProMaster has 524 cubic feet of storage. It's a 487.3 on the Ford and 488 on the Sprinter. Really? Wow, I thought it was more than that. And the Rivian has 652, which is why Amazon picked them. Standard equipment includes LED headlights, fog lights, auto high beams, high resolution backup camera with dynamic grid lines. Grid lines? I think they mean backup, like where, whatever. 10.1 inch touchscreen on the center console running Uconnect 5 infotainment system. Safety features like full speed forward collision warning, crosswind assist, that's nice, drowsiness detections, and a traffic sign information are part of the package. A few optional extras, such as a digital rearview mirror, which could come in handy because there's no rear window. Adaptive cruise control with stop and go, I like that. Lane keep assist, I'm in love with that, at least on my car anyway. I've seen some bad implementations of it. Intelligent speed assist for front parking sensors, rain sensing wipers, and a 360-degree surround view camera. The Ram ProMaster EV in delivery spec starts at $77,995 and is eligible for the $7,500 tax credit because it's not 80. And then, depending on what your business does and your tax situation, you could also probably qualify it for the Hummer tax credit. All right, let's see. We've got some more in the chat here. Patrick is in the waiting room. Let's get Patrick in here. Thank you, Patrick. I need to come up with a way that I can know that there's people in the waiting room. Show on stream. There he is.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning? Afternoon?
Good. Yeah, that's funny. I was like, okay, with this new Streamlabs setup, it looked like I joined, and I started talking, and I'm like, wait, maybe I'm muted. No, wait, maybe I'm not.
I'm going to look and see if anybody has a solution. Yeah.
Okay. I figured I would just go and type in the chat.
Yeah. So you saw we talked about carswithcords.net and the Boring Company.
I did. I mostly came in when you were talking about the baby seat for the Model 3 stuff. Yeah,
you've dealt with that. Tell us more.
I have. Yeah. So we were very particular about making sure that the baby seat was installed correctly. Our local fire department has a program where you can go and they'll test it. And I mean, I'm an engineer. I read the manual. I did everything step by step, and they were like, "Oh no, this isn't tight enough. This isn't good enough." And you really got to torque that thing down and compress the seating underneath it to get it in right. So having this top latch, I think, is important. And you mentioned if you have 3 young children, but that's not the only case. You might have 2 older kids who want the real seats, and so the baby's in the middle. And so even in that situation, yeah, exactly. So
you don't want the long leg kid kicking the screen.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So there's lots of cases where you might want to put it in the middle, and I'm glad that they're getting called out on it. I'm sure they'll fix it, and things will be better for everybody.
That was a weird oversight.
Safety is really important.
Yes, especially for them. Safety is supposed to be number one, so it's got to have just been an oversight. And I'm glad to see that the part was already there. Um,
Hmm.
just weird they covered it up. I didn't have the perspective on it because I've only got the one kid, and I put the base in there and I just leave it. um,
Yeah.
but you're right. If finding somebody to actually check it was quite difficult up where I was. Yeah,
Hmm.
take it down to the police department. Take it to the fire department. No, we don't do that. Oh, we're closed today. Oh, okay. I'll just hope that she's got.
Oh wow, yeah. This was a special event just for this, and
Oh
they
yeah, they
had
do the events. Yeah,
experts out there, and yeah. So it's I would recommend it for anybody installing a baby seat for the first time. Have
definitely.
someone who knows what they're doing, who's been there, done that, and can check it out. I mean, it was funny. This big firefighter is just like jamming his knee in there, shoving it down, tightening these belts. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that's not how I did it. I kind of just
right.
like tightened. Like, okay, you got
Yeah,
to really get into it.
I think that the hospital should host something like that because it would
Oh
have been
yeah,
helpful. Because my little Earth Day baby, she wasn't born around any of the events.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's too bad.
it would
Yeah.
have given confidence. So
Yeah,
so what do
it should be part of, like, new parent orientation or something.
definitely. So what do
Yeah.
you think of this? Obviously, go read the boring article that not the boring the article that Patrick wrote on the Boring Company and the Boring Loop. But what do you think about this? What was Dodge thinking here? Releasing a new EV with a decent sized battery and a good charging peak rate, but without adapters or NACs. Like what the hell?
So, Dodge is part of Stellantis, right?
Yes,
Stellantis is the remaining major holdout to the next coalition.
behind
Um,
Mazda, who doesn't even make a new
yeah,
EV.
exactly, exactly. What are they thinking? Yeah, if you wanna sell cars in 2025 in North America, it's gotta have NACS. So, I think, they're I'm sure they're planning that, and they're probably working on it now. They just don't have
Yeah,
anything to announce, and so they're not saying anything.
right.
And if
And
they want to
I
sell this, they were focused on this launch that they're making right now,
yeah,
and they don't want to Osborne themselves by talking about what next year's cars will have.
I get that, but with the Osborne situation, they could just say, hey, this car today, at some point in the next couple of months, can use the supercharger network. We're going to give you free or paid, or we don't know. There will be adapters.
Hmm.
Details coming later, so you can use this on the supercharger network. I mean,
Right,
that would have been easy, and it would
right.
got them so many more sales.
Would it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, because like if you are not going with them exclusively, like if you have a mix of vans that you're going to be using, vans, trucks, cars, everything else in your
hmm,
fleet is using Max, unless you're a
that's
Dodge
true.
only shop.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people who haven't figured it out yet. It's all new to them, and there's like, what? I don't. If it doesn't run on gas, I don't know how to deal with this.
oh yeah.
So-
We saw a lot of that with the weather related incident in Chicago, and then a couple of
we
other people
did.
who, yeah, somebody in my group was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I bought a non Tesla, and here's some things you got to think about. This doesn't apply to Tesla people." He left that flashing at the bottom of his video because they were all the problems that Tesla people don't deal with. Because
Hmm. But even in Chicago, there were Teslas having problems too.
oh yes,
And
absolutely,
yeah, and Kyle Connor did a video about it. He flew out there and talked to people, and I think he summed it up well in that a lot of it was people that were renting Teslas for Uber and Lyft. They
yeah,
weren't regular Tesla drivers. They had to charge them at the superchargers because they're not their vehicles that they charge at home, and that just put them in the situation where once they started having problems, like Mark was talking about in the beginning when you plug in, it's going to heat the battery. It's not going to start
exactly,
charging, and that can
and that could take up to an
that
hour.
exactly. And so they've just lost patience. It's not their car. They don't care. They call their spouse or friend, have them pick them up, and they just leave it there. And
Yeah,
they were like, I'm done with this. And that just compounded the problem because now you've
yeah.
got blocked stuff and ugh.
We had a member in one of our groups who said that their car was broken and they had to get it towed home, and that they were at home and it still wasn't charging, and so now they got to get it towed to the service center to get a new something. But in the screenshot they showed us, the uh, the car said battery heating before charging could begin.
Mhm.
There was nothing wrong with it. Why Tesla didn't tell them that when he made the appointment, or maybe He was just a jerk, and they're like, "Fine, bring it in."
Mm,
But he was
yeah,
talking about how he spent $600 on towing and then had to do it again, and it doesn't look like he had to do it again, or even probably the first time if it was the same thing.
yeah. Even
Yeah,
in this weather, I can drive all the way to Corvallis and back on a single charge and not have to charge up. And um, I plug it in my own garage. I preheat, so everything is great. And
yeah,
you, the amount of supercharging that I do is so minimal. It's really too bad that this one there was so many factors that all hit
yes.
together to make that fall apart.
Yes, and like I said, on this little trip we took yesterday, I wasn't planning on it, and we just jumped in the car. I did remember to preheat the car, so that way it was ready to go. I noticed that it was cold enough. The first thing it did was defrost the front and rear windows before it started heating the inside of the car.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, well, because I wasn't prepared to make a trip, one thing I noticed was my tires were 4 and 5 pounds low. It was that much colder than
Oh.
when I inflated them, and
Mm.
it was still above the what the door jam said, so I just rolled with it. But had that been
That's funny. You consider you were still above the door jam, and you're like, "Oh, these are low." You are a range
this will work.
optimizer.
But it does add it to the watt hours per mile. So,
It does. Yes.
but
Yes.
also with them being snow tires, it does help with the if there were snow on the ground, it would help with more surface area to grip with.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
What did you
funny.
think about Mazda? Like, I think it's good that they're jumping on board and doing the right thing, but like, have they got something they're going to tell us? Because
Mm.
the other car couldn't make it between the furthest supercharger stops. I don't mean like the two in Alaska down to Washington State or to Canada. But I'm talking like the like in the like considered on network. They can be as far apart as 150 miles. That car can do 100 on a good day.
Yeah. I think 200 is kind of the minimal now.
Yeah,
If you're selling something below that, it's just not going to have a market. I mean, maybe there's a niche market for it, but it.
yeah,
So yeah, they've got to do something better than that.
yeah. And so I can see with that car having a 100-mile range why they didn't bother announcing what they're going to do with adapters because here's an adapter, but you can't make it to the next station.
Hmm.
uh, Mr. All
Adapters are
Electric,
always helpful, though. Whatever you can find, you want an adapter for it, especially if you have short
exactly.
range. You got to be prepared.
Yes, yes. Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says Mazdas are going to need NACS with how the MX-30 reviewed. Yes,
Hmm.
I'm
They're
I'm
going
just
to
curious.
need
Yeah,
every campground connector, every outlet they can find. Unplug the soda machine and plug in for a few watts.
yes. But I'm wondering if perhaps they like maybe they had planned that there was going to be another announcement with it. Like, hey, here's the NACS, and we've
Hmm.
got a new car coming out. But like maybe like the details weren't ready yet to say what that was, so they just cut that half off because it's kind of weird.
Hmm.
I like that they did it though. Let's see
Yeah,
what else
definitely.
did we have that was going to get cut. Uh, not really cut, but like I had everything reordered, and the way it got reordered wasn't necessarily the greatest. um, come on, come on. My mouse is like mad at me. I've been closing apps and tabs, and it wasn't enough.
Hmm.
All right, so we talked about Stellantis. Oh, I had them, and they went in the background. We talked about Stellantis. We talked about the Lightning Raptor, which ended up not being called that at all, and was a show truck. Carvana's list of best-selling EVs were dominated by Tesla, but the model that topped the list might surprise you. AKA,
Oh,
it
it
wasn't
should
the
be the
Model Y.
why.
You would think it'd be the Y, but
Yeah.
I think the reason it wasn't the Y is because people are holding on to it. It
Mm,
suits their needs, and there's not a new
I see.
version of it that. Oh, I mean, like if you got the earliest one, there's like the Mega Cast rear, but like, does that really
I
matter?
see. So it's stuff that people are trading in to buy a why.
Probably so. And so number one was actually the Model 3.
Three. Yeah. Yeah. It can't be one of the other two. Those are too expensive to dominate a list.
Exactly. Expensive and
Although
far and
mine
few
went in the
between.
used market.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We went over the list of like the top sales for the year for the US, and like Model X was like number 8 or something like that. But I was surprised to see that Model X outsold Model S until I realized as I was talking through it that the Model S doesn't have a tax credit, and the 3 and the Y do, and so does the X, if done correctly.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Interesting.
Although now you have to get it in stealth gray with no option changes whatsoever.
Standard that limit.
Yeah. F-150 Lightning, Carvana. Neo's sub-brand Alps is to adopt the Tesla-esque pure vision system. So they're getting rid of their LiDARs and radars. And I think Ford said they didn't do it, but they said they could see why it works. So I think Ford could do it.
Tesla-esque. That's the
Tesla-esque.
interesting phrasing. Yeah, so it's not that they're licensing a vision system from Tesla. They're just
Right.
using a similar strategy. That headline almost had me for a moment there. Wait, what?
Right. Oh, well, not them. It was Xpeng that was accused of stealing earlier
Yes.
versions of AP and FSD. Mr. All Electric says, "Lol, add Chatamo to it too." Yes. EV1 paddle chargers. I wouldn't be surprised if you could find me an EV1 paddle charger that's still operational, just because it hasn't been used in so long.
That's
Like,
what I
oh
have for
yeah, you're
my
the first person
X10
to use this in
electric.
10 years. Yeah, the 55K sedan and 80K SUV limit. Yes, I think that's what caused that. So we talked about Carvana, and we talked about the Tesla-esque system. I think that's all we needed to say on them for now. We talked about all the school systems getting electric buses, which is nice.
Yes, some of them in Oregon too.
Yes. Oh, here's a good one, and I think it'd be worth having a picture. So let's click it. The Pentagon, one of the world's largest buildings, is getting rooftop solar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to do work here. It is quite a commute. But look at all that roof space. It's just wasted. So throw
Mm.
some PV panels up there.
Yeah, I hope this isn't like when the White House got panels and then
Oh,
when a new administration took over, they all got removed. That was just a waste.
that was a super waste. I did find out that those panels got moved to a university, so they weren't just thrown away as
Exactly.
everybody made it seem.
Yes. Right.
But
That is a
either way,
big roof.
yeah, it's the world's largest office building. So let's see if they say they're going to get 610,000 square meters of floor, and of course, same for roof. 26,000 employees is aiming to achieve net zero. And this military of ours, they already understand uh, climate change and net zero and self sufficiency. And if you can bring a couple rolls of like 1,000 meter solar panels that just roll up behind a Humvee, rather than having to have a fuel train, or at least that much less of a fuel train, they get it. Like I keep saying, it's monetary. It's you've got all the environmental stuff, but think selfishly first, and you still end
Yes.
up going green before you
Right.
even talk about the green stuff.
Right. About self-resilience and self-reliance, and the
Yeah,
military has to have that.
and stealth.
A lot. Yeah. A lot of the attacks that happen in the military are when they're going to refuel vehicles.
Yeah,
Uh, you have to come out of your protected environment. You're vulnerable at that time. So if you can instead find alternatives where you don't have to do that, even better.
exactly. Mr. All Electric asks, oh wow, does the rear-wheel drive Cybertruck qualify for the credit if we ever see it? Actually, I think both the rear-wheel drive and the non-foundation dual motor both qualify. Uh, the Beast is going to qualify, but not at its existing pricing. I think whoever was doing the approvals just said yes, but not at this price. And then if it comes down, then it's already pre-approved. That way they didn't have to do it twice.
Oh, I see. So it's qualified but overpriced. So it's an $80,000 limit, I think.
80,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the dual motor is probably going to be just like the Model X, where you can't change anything on it, and then you can qualify. And then hopefully the rear wheel drive uh, will be just like, hey, do it up what you want. You get these options, but if you get this one, it's too much. Yeah. So that's good to see
Yeah,
from
it's
the
too
Pentagon.
bad. The option shouldn't change whether the vehicle qualifies or not. I
I
mean,
agree.
if you want some different interior or self-driving or whatever that might change the price, that shouldn't
Right.
change
I like the way
credit.
Canada does it. Like, hey, if any of them qualify, you can do whatever you want after that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, and then Mr. All Electric says that All Electric Car Lunacy says it's worth it to throw PV panels up there. Exactly. Um,
Mhm.
Especially as much as we keep having budget fights. That means that their electric bill won't be won't be part of it. Model X has a bunch of stuff included right now, so it's moot. Colors, tow package. Well, the colors we just mentioned, the colors are no longer included. Tow package has been included since I got mine, so since 2018. But right now, any color other than stealth gray on Model X will push you over the limit for getting the credit, as well as if you want to put it back the way that it was designed, like aesthetically, with the yoke, getting the yoke will push you over as well, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree. Boo.
Yeah, you can do all that aftermarket though, right?
Yeah, you can do it
Well,
aftermarket.
most of it.
Yeah, in fact, that reminds me, I got to answer somebody. I had a YouTube comment asking if I still have my yoke, and I do. If you're watching, um, so we talked about the Pentagon. $2 to $3 billion battery factory for electric trucks is headed to Mississippi. Congrats. Oh, you know what
Hmm.
got cut? Something I really wanted to talk about. It's around the corner from where I'm sitting right now. Well, not right around the corner, same state. Uh, the U.S. government opens 22 million acres of federal lands to solar. That's like a land grant program. That's pretty cool. Safe AI builds the first ever electric autonomous Caterpillar haul truck conversion for use in mining sites. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
We talked about the Giga Nevada groundbreaking, and we saw the drone flyover, but I still don't have where it shows the breakdown of what the building is going to be looking like. Oh, we talked about how MAN CEO said it was impossible for hydrogen to compete with BEVs. That was refreshing to
Hmm.
see.
Yep. Someone who
Stellantis
could do
says
math. Wow.
right, simple math. Stellantis CEO says a bloodbath is coming if EV makers follow Tesla and Musk in a race to the bottom. What?
Well, the transition from gas cars to EVs is not going to be easy, and not all of the car companies that we know of today are going to survive that. And so he has a point in that you can't just right now Tesla has such a position that you can't compete with them directly. You're going to have to find other markets that they're not in. You're going to have to find other ways because they can't just come out and sell a $30,000 EV without losing a lot of money on every one because they don't
Right.
have the volumes, they don't have the supply chains, they don't have a lot of things yet. So just trying to compete head on with Tesla is a bad move, and that's not exactly what he said, but I
Right.
think that's part of what they're thinking.
Gotcha. Fair
You have
enough.
to start at the high end. You have to a car that can afford all of the you can charge a big price tag for. You have to make something compelling and interesting, and then you can use it also as a technology development vehicle. I mean, that's why Tesla started at the high end, right?
Right.
So they can do low volume, high price, work out a lot of the problems before they go to medium volume, medium price, and then when we get the robo taxi platform, then it'll be high volume or super high volume, low price.
Right. So
That'll
what I'm
be
hearing
yeah,
is we're
step
going to lose some
change.
more legacies at this point
Oh yeah,
because some of them can't afford
uh,
to do that roadmap anymore. It's late in the game.
exactly.
Yeah.
Between that transition and China coming into the market on a global scale, there's definitely. He said there's going to be a bloodbath. Well, I mean, yeah, there is.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we've also got the likes of Toyota and well, maybe not Volkswagen, but somebody as large as Volkswagen, but with better finances. They can afford to just start at the low end, but it's going to cost them dearly, and they'll have to
Right.
do it right the first time because they got to crawl right out of it after they've made that investment. Let's see.
Yeah.
Mr. All Electric Car Lunacy says, yeah, I guess a yoke can be had for less than $7,500. Yeah, absolutely. It's like Formula One yoke. The Japanese car industry ownership interweaving, I think it's going to make their decisions about which brands die out difficult. Absolutely. And yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. And it's unfortunate it's going to have to play out that way, but they had all the opportunity in the world and they squandered it.
Yep. Yep.
So the new Model 3 gets 5 stars in China's iVista intelligent vehicle integration test. So we've seen
Cool.
the videos I like to show you guys out of IIHS and NHTSA and the European programs. It sounds like they did the same thing in China. I don't know if this is going to have music or anything, so let's see. Of course it does. So this looks like they just
Mhm.
copied the IIHS view, which is fine. And we know China likes to copy stuff, but So we know how this is going to play out. They're just going to do well. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this looks like a different version of the IAHS test, but it's really a Chinese copy. That's fine. A G for good. I like it. All right, so let's move on to the next one since we know. Oh, what's this? It says smart parking. Oh, you know why? They failed it because the new Model 3 doesn't have any parking sensors, so it doesn't have auto park. Oh
Yep.
well. It'll come, and they can probably get a pay to get the test updated. All right, so this was one that I did not expect to ever see because it's illegal to sell Teslas here, and somehow they got a repair center. This might be how they got a repair center in Colombia, um, right off Two Notch Road. Yeah, right off Two Notch Road because Forest Drive is the V4 dispenser. So this is going to be a 251,000 square foot distribution center for like parts and stuff. Uh, and we've seen that the South Carolina is very flexible in their very firmly held beliefs. Let's call it that. They have what we call blue laws, and in Colombia, when they were courting Amazon, they managed to get rid of the no alcohol on Sundays law, which was like very Bible based. It's still elsewhere in the state. So like where I'm at now, if you go through like a grocery store, there'll be ropes off the alcohol section or aisle or fridge, and the liquor stores are just closed. Dealerships are closed on Sundays too, but in Colombia, you can buy a bottle of vodka or whatever on Sunday. No big deal. So I'm wondering if the firmly held belief that the dealerships should be in charge of everything that they got from their greased palms might have been overcome by having these permanent jobs from having this facility in Greenville, perhaps. And so,
Yeah,
oh,
you
you
were
let
just talking about a battery factory coming to Mississippi.
yeah,
When there's jobs and money, maybe the opinion of some politicians will change.
right. Like, oh yeah, you can have a repair center. You still can't sell the cars because that would cost us too much money. But you can now service them without having our customers drive to Charlotte or Savannah and losing out on all that sales tax. Uh,
Hmm.
Christ brings a sword says, "Don't want to run your heater? Dress warm." That's true. That's true. Uh, well, as that's as bad as Model Y scoring poorly in a child seat connections category for not having them in the front seat. What they did? Oh wow, that wasn't a joke. In the Euro NCAP, they got a wow. That's terrible for not having child seat connections in the front seat. Here it's not allowed, so I get them not even thinking about that. But wow, interesting. So congratulations to Tesla, and if you're interested in working for Tesla, take a look at Greenville. Uh, the Ford battery plant where their only licensing battery tech is being blocked was so ridiculous. Yeah, them and then the Rivian one in Georgia. Like, we need jobs, but not that way. Come on now. So this one was from Not a Tesla app. It says update to add tighter turns to Cybertruck. Hidden tow hitch revealed and full owner's manual. I'm not sure about the hidden tow hitch, but Elon did say on Twitter that the tighter turns was coming. But not a
Hmm.
Tesla app tends to get into the firmware with them and some other groups, so it must be closer than we thought at this point. So enhanced turning radius and maneuverability. One of the cool things about Cybertruck is the four-wheel steering, but it's not enough according to Musk. Cybertruck boasts a 9% better turning radius than the Ford F-150 Lightning. This translates into a turning circle of just 43.5 feet, or 12.5 meters. An impressive element considering the size and design of the Cybertruck. Of the electric pickup. But Musk says it will get even better. Uh, so we've got a Sawyer post and Nick Cruz Pantane. According to the manual, with its four-wheel steering, yep, 4% smaller for Cybertruck. And Elon responded, "We have further improvements in the works to tighten the turning circle significantly."
Very
Mr. Allmetric
cool.
says, "Yeah, there was a Mercedes van that scored higher because it had those connectors in the front and the middle seat, even though the safety of the crash dummies was yellow and not green like the Model Y had."
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should
I
be kind of results based.
right. But they had checked one more box. You have a safe way to put kids in the front seat. But I agree that the kids should not be in the front seat at all because the lower outcomes. All right, so something about a hidden tow hitch. I guess it's just people showing you how to take the cover off the tow hitch on X.
That makes sense.
Plastic.
Uh-oh. I've lost sound.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. Okay, he's back.
oh okay.
It's a little hard to follow because the stuff you're sharing, I have to watch through the YouTube link, and it's 30 seconds behind. So
Oh wow. So your PC does like mine. This one I did like. I saw that in the manual. The Cybertruck. Can I go back enough without opening X? The Cybertruck has like many other real trucks. It has a separate 7-pin and 4-pin. They say that they can't both be open at the same time, and I think I see how now. It wasn't clear in the manual how that was possible. Um, this way, you don't need to have that adapter all the time like you do with the Model X if you sometimes tow other people's trailers or trailers without brakes. And not just trailers without brakes, but trailers with surge brakes as well, like where they have a hydrogen compression that applies the brake. So,
hmm
yeah. Yay! So that's how it is, and I'll when I get my truck, I'll be doing that, and that'll spend significant time off the truck. Off-road mode with granular speed control is coming, and that's all very exciting. And then T Sportline went through the entire owner's manual. It took them about 38 minutes to just scroll and click and scroll and click, and
Wow.
it took me about 2 hours to go through reading everything. I don't know if it took me the full 2 hours because there was a lot of stuff that is the same as every other Tesla that I skip
hmm
because I was only interested in the new stuff, and it's an interesting read. I'll put a link to that in the YouTube chat as well. So right over here, and I'm smelling lunch. So I want to thank everybody for your time today. I want to thank Patrick for joining us. Again, check out his article on the Boring Company at carswithcords.net. And again, I heard back from YouTube. So if you want me to be able to give you a free membership for the channel members, you need to turn on membership gifting in your YouTube profile. If somebody will tweet me, X me, DM me, whatever, I will find the instructions on how to do that. So that way, once we have 5 people with that turned on in the view, then we can hit that button, and then it'll give 5 random people. So if it's only 5 people, it'll give 5 random people a free month of membership, which is nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you for your time watching, and thank our members for your monetary contribution because that helps to pay for all this software and bandwidth and everything that we can come to you. So we'll catch you on the flip side. And Patrick, I'll catch you after the music
Alrighty. Bye, everybody.
as soon as I find the button.